Hello everyone, welcome to DarthSpockReviews. I'm your host David Gillie, aka DarthSpock, and we've got a big show for you today. We're going to catch up with all the films I reviewed recently. So we have Despicable Me 2, The Purge, and The Hangover Part 3. Despicable Me 2. Now, I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was really funny, really well written, and does the second one stand up to it? Yes. Yes, it really does. The story isn't quite as good, but it is far funnier. It's been such a long time since I've laughed so much in a movie. So funny. Definitely worth going to see. The Minions have much more presence in it. Like the first one, a lot of humour, it's just very slapstick. It's just them going, injuring each other. In this one, there's so much there. In this one, there's so much more there that is so funny. They all have personalities. They're a much bigger part of the movie. Obviously, we have Steve Carell return as Gru, and still just as funny as he was in the first one. Still struggling to be a father to these three girls, and he's the next bad guy now. So we see him trying to play the good guy life. It is a very predictable movie. It can work out a lot what's going to happen. It follows a specific formula, but that doesn't stop it from being funny. Yeah, it is a family film, like a film for kids. So you can expect it's not going to have an overly complicated storyline, but I saw it with just 2 minutes and we all loved it. We all thought it was fantastic. So, yeah, this film just point out a lot. It just point out a lot of the obvious parts of spy movies and those flaws in spy movies. There was a risk to me that it was going to be a lot like Cars 2 when it goes on the spy route and it was just going to be terrible, but no, it doesn't do it. The film's not perfect, but it is. Solid story. Really funny, like I said, funnier than the first one. Definitely get yourself and watch it. I'm going to give Despicable Me 2 8.5 out of 10. I really liked it. I'll probably be getting it on Blu-ray. As you get towards the final confrontation, you start to think, right, this movie's dragged a little bit. And it just seems to have gone on for a bit too long. But then suddenly, the final scene, the Minions again make it so funny. They sing a song and it's just like, oh my god, so funny. Completely lightens the mood, brings you back into the movie, and suddenly you feel like the movie's not gone for long enough. The Purge. Now, I went into this movie, I hadn't even seen the trailer when I went to go see this movie. I just simply decided to go see it, give it a try, and straight from the outset, the way it sets up is really good. It has a very original, unique plot line, and it spends the first few minutes of the film setting up for that. And it's all about, in the future, America has the annual Purge, the one night a year where all crime is legal. And apparently that's brought crime right down to like 1%. It's brought crime right the way down. Unemployment is like down to 2% or something like that, all because people save all their personal grudges and their need to destroy stuff until this one night every year. I think, well, that's actually quite an ingenious idea. So I was quite interested in it. And then that throws in a few political things of people saying, oh, this is just the government's way of getting rid of the poor who can't afford to look after themselves. And it just gets you thinking, it's like, yeah, you can see how that could work. So it all revolves around Ethan Hawke's character. I really like Ethan Hawke. He's one of those characters, he's one of those actors who is so vast, he dips into every genre, and he is the best actor in this movie. Again, the acting isn't fantastic in this movie. It has a really good premise, like I just said, a really original idea, but that's about as far as really stand out good parts of this film go. It all revolves around this one family who doesn't want to get involved in the Purge, like a lot of the rich families that just hide behind big defences and try and avoid the night. And it's good to watch them, how they deal with the situation when it all goes wrong, but it feels like they've wasted it so much. I mean, you look up your screens, it cuts to like the people watching the Purge, like the Purge is monitored on security cameras and things. You could do so much. Just watching the Purge, like everyday people on the street. They could do a web series just the Purge, of different people's stories. Why limit it to just this one family? I mean, I liked it. Like, don't get me wrong, I did like it. A lot more than I thought I did. but it just feels like they wasted it. When some of the action gets going, it's fun, it's interesting to watch. But again, it just doesn't quite fill you. It's such a wasted opportunity. I mean, I would probably watch it again. And people kept telling me, oh, it's so violent, it's ultra violent. It isn't. It isn't that violent. In fact, it's hardly violent at all. And this is from the producers of Insidious. I was expecting at least a bit more violence in that and maybe make it a bit scarier. Yeah, it's a couple of jumps. But it's not a scary movie. It's not made to be scary. It's made to be this violent movie, and I don't think it delivers on that front. You know, like I said, Ethan Hawke, he's a good character to watch. He plays the role really well. He is the rich father figure who's kind of distant from his kids. You know, that usual type of role. And also they seem like they'll set up these stories, like the son, they seem to set him up as a little bit weird who likes to mess with toys and security cameras and all that. And you think, oh, they're just going to look into his character a bit more. No, they don't. They just kind of like leave the doors open to potential storylines and just don't look on it. They don't act upon it. It's like, why have you... I know they're thinking of doing a second one, and I hope they do. I hope they do it and explore more areas of this Purge, because, like I keep saying, it's a good idea. Like I'm saying that having an actual annual Purge is a good idea. For a movie idea, it's good, it's solid, and it's original. And that is really rare today. So I'm going to say The Purge, it is a good film. I'd say check it out if you want to see something original. And there are a few good bits to it. Like a couple of good shootouts, a couple of nice little violent bits. And then you have the usual family problems. In fact, there's one bit with daughter's boyfriend, which you'll just be like, you see it coming, but then kind of like, you'll be screaming at the screen. It's like, how did you not know? It probably just worked it out from there. So I'm going to give The Purge 6.5 out of 10. I would love to give it more, but at the end of the day, it's not a fantastic movie. I give it most of its rating purely on the premise that was set and the premise that could have been. The Hangover Part 3. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. I love The Hangover, and I love The Hangover Part 2. I know a lot of people don't like the second one, but I don't understand why. Probably. I don't understand why. It's exactly the same as the first one. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's the first one, but bigger. Yeah, it's not as good, but it's still funny. It's funnier than this one turned out to be. Now, it all ends. This is the final in the trilogy. They wanted to mix the formula up a bit, make it a bit different. They stated well that the film wasn't going to start with them getting drunk and having a massive hangover and not remembering anything. They didn't want to do the same film 3 times. To me, that's kind of its downfall. I understand why they did it. I'm glad they did try something new, but this one just wasn't as good as the other two. And yeah, it was funny. The characters were all still funny. In fact, I think they changed Zach Galifianakis' character. Like, he's maybe off his meds now, so he's only a bit crazy. But I think they're pushing him a bit too far. I don't know. He's just not as funny as he used to be. And it's the same with the whole film. It's like it's all linked in to the first and the second one. It's all meant to flow and just conclude. But there was just something about it for me. It just wasn't as good as the other two. I can understand why they wanted to tie off all the loose ends. They wanted to choose. They wanted to make the third one the definitive ending to that particular storyline. And it's all been advertised. It's because they go back to Vegas, and they're not even in Vegas for that long. It's not a necessary part of the story. It could have been anywhere. I think they just threw it in there purely because, oh, this is where it started, this is where it's going to end. And I was just disappointed by it. I mean, it's funny. I would watch it again. There's some bits that did make me laugh quite a bit. And the ending, a little bit after the credits, so it saves the movie. It is so funny. I was in fits of laughter. It's like, that is what saves this whole movie. I mean, you haven't... Like, a fun movie to watch, you enjoy it because we enjoy the characters and we see the familiar places and some of the old faces again. And then you do feel a bit unfulfilled, and then you get that scene. And it just makes the whole movie worthwhile. Saying all that, if you watch the trailer, you notice that there's the giraffe scene in the trailer. Believe it or not, that is funnier in the movie. I always thought in the trailer that was hilarious, but when it's right at the beginning of the movie, and it's just like, so funny. So funny. I just couldn't believe it when I was watching it. I was like, right, we've seen this before. I've watched the trailer loads of times when I've been to the cinema. But then when it actually happens, it's like, right, you've surprised me. Good work. Good work. So overall, I'm going to say The Hangover Part 3, it's a good film. Yeah, it ties off all the loose ends, but I think the main selling point of it was supposed to be something different. It's changed the formula a bit, was also its downfall. A lot of people I know so were disappointed by the fact that they didn't get drunk, have a hangover, having forgotten everything that happened the night before. Whereas I understand they didn't want to do the same movie 3 times. I think that's what some people wanted. Which makes no sense because then they would have complained like they did with the second one. That's too much like the first one. You couldn't really win with this one, but it is definitely a good film. If you're a fan of the first 2, then go see it. If you haven't seen the first 2, then there's no point jumping in on the third one because it's going to make very little sense to you. But overall, it's a funny film. Pretty solid. Just not as good as the first 2. Still makes you laugh though. Just not what I wanted from a big finale, a big conclusion to this trilogy. Personally, I would have been happy if they left it at 1. The Hangover would have been a classic. It still is a classic. The first Hangover film is the funniest, best story, and it's quite original as well. It's in its own way. So I'm going to give The Hangover Part 3 7 out of 10. Probably being a bit generous. That's purely because there were some bits that I wasn't expecting that did make me laugh quite a bit, and then that after the credit scene just topped it off. Thank you very much for watching. Comment below, let me know what you thought of Purge, The Hangover Part 3 and Despicable Me 2. Which was your favourite out of those 3? Have you seen them? Do you think The Purge should get a sequel? Do you think The Hangover was a conclusion? And was Despicable Me 2 a good sequel? Subscribe for more videos. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DarthSpock. If you have Vine, follow me on that. DarthSpock93 when I do 7-second reviews. Ask me anything. If you want me to review something, just let me know and I'll try and get it done.